Hey y'all, you've tuned in to part 2 of episode 1. I'm splitting this video into 5 parts. I realized way too late that I have way too much content for just one episode. So this is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, links in the description down below. Subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date with all of my releases for this video series. Thanks. Here's the vid. Alright. Let's move on to the next portion of this video. We're now going to talk about setting up tracks, track coloring, and how you should organize your tracks, and all that fun stuff. So on my hard drive up here, I already downloaded the tracks for the session. My brother and his fiance were kind enough to lend a hand in creating some tracks for me to mix for this video, and I thought it was important that someone who didn't have as much experience in recording and mixing was going to record, because sometimes you get sent files that you're not really happy with, and or just stuff that your friends do to mix, and your friend who's recording, who you're mixing, may have not the greatest setup, you know. So this is, so we got all audio files here, and just taking a look at this right away, I see that they use 2 mics on guitar amps, which is awesome. That's really cool to see. That means you can do a blend of mics. You got a bass track here. I don't know if they did bass amp. I see some vocals, which is great. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's get into the session. Let's open up Pro Tools, and you'll see I probably, if you're following along with me, you'll see I have a lot more plugins, and we're not going to touch any UAD stuff. I don't have a satellite. I borrowed one for a session I did a little bit ago, and we're not going to touch any of the Waves plugins that I have, or the Sound Toys, or Mic DSP stuff. All great stuff, all stuff I recommend. Okay, you're going to get to a window like this, and setting up your session, I run 4824. There's a reason I do that, and it's because it's the highest quality that the consumer will listen to. So if you're recording a music video, videos are shot at 24-48. So for sync reasons, you would want to record at that quality. And I also did a bit of research ago when I was figuring out what bit and sample rate. And sample rate and bit depth, they're just fancy ways of kind of saying how the computer picks up audio on its way in and samples it. And so the higher the sample rate, the more times it's sampling the sound, which turns into a larger file you have to store, which is why it's important to get external hard drives. Some of my friends go as far as, I mean, you can only see 96 here, but you can do up to like 192, and 32-bit float too for sessions. Your MP3 that your consumer is listening to is 16-bit 44.1, most likely. There are some MP3s that are 48, I know. And that's fine. And your stuff you're going to dither down eventually. There's going to be something in the process that dithers that down. When I submit to DistroKid, a lot of the time, they'll still take 24-48. I know CD Baby doesn't do that, because CD quality is 16-bit 44.1. So it all depends on the medium. If you're trying to go exclusively to CD, 1644.1 is cool. Or, I mean, you could do 1688.2. Since that is an exact, 44.1 is half of 88.2. So conversion-wise, there's less of a chance for error. But I like to keep my session around there. Okay, so we're gonna go lull, drifting away. I believe this is a Daytona song. So I name my songs with spaces. Some people will go and, do the old underscore. I used to do that. However, I did have a few conversations with teachers in my past and have come up with my own naming system for sessions. So today is 4/21/20, and this is how I name my sessions. I go artist or song, artist, then date, and when I'm tracking. When I'm mixing, I actually Max Grazier mix. So we're gonna name it that, but we're also gonna include stock somewhere in the title, because I am gonna do a different mix later on that has more plugins. Or actually, it's got 4 non-stock plugins. I'm gonna do the whole mix with those. But okay, so now we got all that. Interleaved is checked, which is great. Volumes, it's going to not where I want it to go, so let's make it go where I want to go. Okay, we found our spot for this. We're gonna make the session right there. So MG stock mix, you can name it whatever you want, whatever song you're mixing. We're gonna create this. Awesome. This is a blank Pro Tools session. Really sick. I have memory locations up because I use memory locations. They're markers and they come up here. Great when you're marking out a song. Here we're going to import, Command-Shift-I is the import, and we're going to go not to here. What am I doing? Audio files. There we are. This is the slightly boring part. Okay, so it's loading. Okay, and you can if you're not sure about any of these, you can press spacebar and it will preview everything for you. So he did send me MP3s, which is not great, but it's what we have to work with. And honestly, sometimes that's what you're gonna get. So me upsampling to 48 isn't gonna do anything really. There's a chance that some errors may happen. Usually doesn't, but there's a chance. So something could go wrong. But knowing this is at 44.1 is something that you should keep in mind. And it's almost worth considering doing the session at 44.1 in that case. But just for consistency's sake, I'm gonna keep it at 48. This should convert. We'll add to the audio files folder, and this is gonna take a second. All right, and this dialog box pops up. New track or clip list. I personally, all of these are going to tracks anyway. If you weren't sure about that, if you had multiple takes, you could go clip list. And session start could go to a selection, and we didn't select anything. Session start's great. That's fine. We're gonna hit yes. And the first thing you're gonna see is all of the tracks are stereo tracks, which is not what you want. And that is because they bounced them. I believe he bounced these all from GarageBand. So this is a GarageBand recording that's been brought into Pro Tools to be mixed. So this is gonna be fun. I have no idea what position. Mic 1 doesn't really tell me where. It's not kick in, kick out. Could be that, but not sure. So I'm gonna quickly rename everything, and then we'll be back in a second. All right, that was part 2. Part 3 coming soon. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned.